This is me, the Grand Duchess Rasmus Conan, also known as Ryan Tomlinson. How are you guys doing? And as I said, I did my prayer and prayers today, and everything I got reaffirmation, refreshing, and instilling that sense of destiny or duty to what the things that you have accomplished and the way that you live your life to this point and so forth, your belief, whatever it is. After all of that, everything is refreshed and clean now. I remember one instance. I'm going to give you an example of my life. When I talk about revenge, people think I'm evil or cold or not revenge. But as I told you, when I was at Fort Bliss, and I'm going to go back to Fort Bliss, I said those people did a lot of things to me, so horrible things. They treated me really bad and so forth. But I endured it. I never spoke up for myself. I never filed any complaints and so forth because I realized it was a dead end stick, you know. Anyway, as I said, I used to just go to church, and I said I fell asleep in church once, and it's like the spirit of revenge came to me and said, "Why are you falling asleep here? What do you want me to do?" And as I said in the dream, I said, "Well, you do." I said, "I can't help myself. I'm not gonna fight against all those people on 9 West and Fort Bliss and whatever, and all the hatred and discrimination I suffered there. I'm just gonna go on." Okay. And then I said a lot of bad things happened. But you know what? The funny thing, as I reflected today, revenge materialized, and take it for what you want, as a woman came to me. There was one evening, there was this dummy patient. She was an actress. And she had her say, I thought her arm was swelling up. And I said, okay, I'm going to call the doctor. Then somebody else called me for an emergency somewhere else, and I said, great, that they would go to the room. And you know what? Something clicked in my mind, and I went back to the room, and I saw them in that room taking the plastic arm off the woman. So she was not really, the fluid was just going into this dummy plastic arm. It was like putting on a second skin and swelling up. And I thought, well, something was wrong with this woman. And so therefore I saw that. I made a jotted note. And she said, the girl said to me, I wanted to say this. You know, Major Hopkins and the rest of them, they are racist. What are you going to do about it? But I said to myself, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to be quiet and go along and pretend and smile and whatever. That was the wrong thing to do. Always speak up for yourself. Now that I've suffered the brunt end of everything, as I said, the Army Nurse Corps was a racist, sexist, discrimination, lack of integrity, disrespectful, and I don't know. I don't know where they practice on their own speed for the things that I see and so forth. So I don't respect them, and I don't give them my respect and so forth, and I have no respectability for them, and they cannot say anything to me because they live that life and I witness it. I am the witness, remember that. And I said, it's funny, going back to the story, it's funny how revenge, the black woman came and said, what are you going to do about it? You're not going to report them, you're not going to say anything, and I never did. But it's funny now how I come to this self-confidence, the sense of responsibility in reporting it and saying it for what it was. And this is why, this is my very backbone of distaste for them. But it's also the very backbone of how I've lived my life. How I was survived from being harassed and tortured and drugged and abused by them in Korea. So much so that they destroyed the records and no one can find them. So much so that I won the lottery and they tried to take my life. The consistency of being who you are and your belief will always save your life. You will always survive the brunt end of everything. And if it costs you your life, remember your spirit rises above them. They have children and they have things to live above. They never escape it. If the word materialized to the flesh, like you go to church and believe, then believe that it's going to come back on them. I have believed it, I've witnessed it, and I'm still witnessing it at this point. And I'm not a pastor. I am an ordinary person, and I do not wish to be anybody's pastor, priest, or leader, spiritual leader. That is not my job. But anyway, she did materialize in the form of a woman. And she came to that room that night and sat down and she said, you know that woman in that bed is an actress. She's not supposed to be in this room. There's nothing here. I said, you know what? I know. We all thought she was sleeping. And she said, what are you going to do with it? But the woman in the morning reported the black woman to Major Hopkins, and they sent her flying. She almost lost her job. They moved her to another section and so forth. But that's okay. I'm just witnessing to the tenets of being true to who you are. Let people plot. Never get caught up in the paranoia of wrongdoing, in the paranoia or in the obsession of the evil things that people do to keep you down as an individual, black, gay, whatever it is. Don't ever submit yourself to it. Submit yourself to blooming wherever you are, and you will find sanctity in your happiness. Yes, I'm alone, and my family wasn't worth anything, and just took 2 words from them for my family to be against me. But I had a lifetime of them also, fighting against them, and there are no more in my life. Because it's time to move forward. It's time to move on. Criminals will always be a criminal. Simple thieves will always be, they will always be striking, they will always be fighting to prove somebody else's guilt instead of rectifying the wrong that they did. And as I'm going to leave you with this quotation, I'm going to make it off the top of my head. Love triumphs, never suffers, and survives. It blooms more than once in many places, and live to tell. Live to tell, and to live to show the lies that others live in spite. Love truly survives. This is the Grand Duchess Rasmus Coden, also known as Ryan Tomlinson. Have a good afternoon. 3706 Banner Road, apartment 2, 240-274-0156. As God is my witness, everything I say is truth and nothing but the whole truth. And so I don't feel shame. I feel empowered each day that each step of my life, I have given them the chance to be better than themselves. Submission, whatever you want to call it, discrimination, pick up their torch and banter. But I'm telling you, some things survive. I'm going to give you one more piece of information, and call it whatever you will. I remember one Easter, I went and I bought so many lilies on that church in El Paso, Texas. And when I went to church and started to sing, call it what it will, but the lilies were more than the lilies. Let's just call them lilies in the living valley. Have a good evening. I'm not Christian, I'm not Catholic, I'm not Muslim, I'm not Jewish. I am nothing. I have no husband, so I am nothing. Have a respectfully civil human being. Hermes girl.